Hey guys, welcome back to Sparkman Homestead. My name is Krista and it is 80 something outside right now. I have been out in the garden all morning kind of swapping my pepper plants out, the ones that got damaged. I was putting in some new kind of more alive ones and also just kind of putting basil all over my property. I absolutely love basil and I love having it just accessible at any point when I go outside. So I was busy out there all day doing that and I am really overheated, and I thought for supper tonight I would make something more not such a hot meal. In the summer I don't like to have the stove going or the oven going too much, and I really like to have nice refreshing meals. I love having salads in the summer. But tonight, we are going to make a little twist on a recipe that I love. I really love making spring rolls. I use just some rice paper to make them and pretty much just take a whole bunch of vegetables and just roll it in this rice paper and then dip it in some Thai peanut sauce. It's really delicious and great. But I seen a recipe, it was in a cookbook. I can't remember what cookbook it was in, but it was in a cookbook and it was actually a hamburger style spring roll. So same concept where you use the rice paper. You just pretty much make like a hamburger, you know, like a burger that you would eat. You just pretty much make that and you put it inside of this spring roll and then you dip it. You can dip it either in a Thousand Island dressing, or what we're gonna do today is we are going to dip it in a Big Mac sauce, and we're gonna make everything from scratch. I have to be honest with you, I have never had a McDonald's Big Mac. So I don't know what Big Mac sauce tastes like. I've just never been a McDonald's fan. I do like their hotcakes, like I like their breakfast, their pancakes, but I've just never really had any McDonald's burgers. So I'm gonna make what I think it would be like. If you are McDonald's fans, you may know what it tastes like and you can definitely give it a try and see if it's kind of a copycat version for yourself. But for me, I just thought it would be a really good dipping sauce to dip these spring rolls in. The other thing we're gonna make today is we are going to make a peach drink to kind of go with that. I don't really have any dessert, and to be honest, I'm not really craving something, but I am craving a nice refreshing drink. So we are gonna make a peach ginger drink to kind of go with these spring rolls. So that is what we have on the docket for today. We have to get started by browning up our hamburger meat. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to brown the hamburger meat up and put some seasonings in that hamburger meat to kind of mimic when I make a hamburger, what the flavor profiles are when I make that burger patty. So let's get started on that. So I have 1 pound of ground beef in my skillet here, and I'm just using my meat chopper, and we're just going to chop this up and get this nice and browned. And then once it starts to get brown, we will add our flavors to this. Now, if you don't want to use ground beef, you could probably use a ground turkey or potentially even like a ground chicken in this, and it probably would taste delicious. Maybe definitely using a ground chicken, like you could even like use like an Asian flavor profile with it. Like you could put cabbage in the spring roll, maybe make it along those lines, and then you could still dip it into the Thai peanut sauce. That would definitely be delicious also. Lots of different options. So the other thing that you're gonna need is you're gonna need a dish that is going to be able to fit the rice papers in. The reason you wanna have the dish that fits that is because we need to get these soft. So what you have to do is you need to fill this with some warm water, and then right before you make that particular spring roll, you are going to take one of these rice papers, put it in that warm water, get it good and soft. It gets like really almost gelatin-like, and then you take it out and then you fill the spring roll with your filling. So we're gonna have some lettuce in our hamburger roll. So I just have some lettuce here from my garden. We're gonna have some chopped tomato. I picked this tomato up this morning from the Amish, and it's just a Cherokee purple tomato. Really, really delicious. And then we need some pickles. So we have our home canned pickles, and then also some sesame seeds. So that is, plus the hamburger meat that we're making up right now. So that is gonna be our toppings inside our spring roll. So our hamburger is starting to get browned up. Now that it's starting to get browned up, we're gonna add our seasoning to it. What I'm gonna use is just some Worcestershire sauce. I don't know exactly how much I'm gonna use in here. I would say maybe like 1 to 2, maybe 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. And then we're gonna use some garlic salt. And I'm gonna say we're probably gonna use about a teaspoon of garlic salt in this. And then we'll use about a teaspoon of onion powder. And then probably about half a teaspoon, maybe a quarter teaspoon of black pepper. And then we're just gonna give this a stir. As I'm browning up that hamburger, I have decided that I am going to make just some regular vegetable spring rolls also. And then I will show you guys how I make that Thai peanut sauce. So we're gonna make 2 different kinds of spring rolls today. We're gonna make it just strictly all vegetable one with some cabbage in it, some cucumber, all of those yummy toppings, and then we will also make the hamburger one. Then we'll make the mac sauce and we'll make the Thai peanut sauce. That way we kind of have a little bit of variety. Right, we are gonna get the mac sauce done first. I figured we would make these sauces. That way they have time to kind of chill in the fridge while we're assembling our spring rolls. The mac sauce, I will leave this recipe linked below for you guys. I just found it on Pinterest and I literally just clicked the very first one that I seen. Again, I don't know what to compare this to, so I don't know how authentic this is gonna be to like an actual mac sauce. And I want to apologize just in advance, guys. My nails, I literally have a gardener's manicure right now. I have tried to scrub my nails clean and they are just not coming clean. It's the time of the year where I just have to deal with what's called the gardener's manicure. I hate it because I hate dirty fingernails, but there's nothing I can do about it. I've even tried to use that orange cleaner, the ones that mechanics use, and it just is not working. So please excuse my dirty fingernails. So I had just enough mayonnaise. This is just some homemade mayonnaise that I made. So we're gonna use 1 cup of mayonnaise. Then I just have some cucumber, like sweet cucumber relish here that I made last year. And we are going to add a 1/4 cup of this. I think I have just exactly a 1/4 cup in here. This is just some homemade mayonnaise not mayonnaise, I'm sorry. This is some homemade mustard that I made. I can actually leave that recipe linked for you guys if you wanna give it a try. It's really, really delicious. So we're gonna add 1.5 tablespoons of just, it says prepared yellow mustard. And then we're gonna add a teaspoon of white wine vinegar. 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. I'm just using regular paprika here. I'm not using a smoked one, although smoked might be good. But again, I'm trying to kind of test and see what this recipe tastes like. And then we need a 1/4 teaspoon of some garlic powder, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder. Okay, and then we're just gonna whisk this all together. Let's give this a taste test and see what it tastes like. It's pretty good. I can't really taste the mustard in it. I can more or less taste just the mayonnaise and the relish, but I think it tastes good and I think this will be a pretty good dipping sauce. You know what it kind of reminds me of in a little ways? It's missing the sweetness, but it kind of reminds me of a yum yum sauce. I don't know if you've ever had it, but a yum yum sauce is delicious. And it kind of reminds me of like a non-sweet yum yum sauce, but we'll get this in the fridge and get this chilled. Okay, next up, let's get this Thai peanut sauce made. This is one of my favorite dipping sauces. It is delicious. So we're gonna use about 1/2 cup, maybe maybe that's almost 3/4 cup, but I'm just using a creamy natural peanut butter. So this peanut butter does not have any sugar in it. I would strongly recommend using a natural peanut butter for this and not one that has the sugar in it. I don't think that it would give you the same flavor profile as using the natural stuff. So then we're gonna add about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce or coconut aminos, whatever thing you have comparable to soy sauce. So we're gonna do about 2 tablespoons of that in there. And then we're going to do maybe like not even quite a tablespoon of honey, just to give it a little tiny bit of sweetness. If you don't want to use honey, you can definitely omit it. You could also use brown sugar, or you could use agave. You could use something like that. Then we're gonna put in about a tablespoon of rice vinegar, sorry. And then we're gonna add about a clove of garlic. I'm just using this Costco minced garlic. And then the best part of this is this stuff. This is a ground chili paste. Now this, you can go with your discretion on your level of heat. I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of this, maybe a little more, maybe 2 teaspoons. And then I'm gonna give it a taste and see how it tastes and see if I need to add any more. Oh, we also need to get about, I would say maybe 3 tablespoons of water in here. I'm just gonna go and add some from my filter. Okay, now we're gonna whisk it up. Just gonna give it a taste test and see if I need to add anything else. Yeah, I think I'm gonna add some more soy sauce to that. It could go a little bit more spicier, but I'm gonna leave it like that. That's better. That is done, so that needs to go into the fridge now. So one thing I like to do when making any type of like spring roll or any type of thing that requires assembly is I kind of like to make like almost like a buffet so that I can just grab everything as it's already pre-chopped. So what we're gonna do, I think we'll start with the cabbage. So we will get a couple of these cabbage leaves cleaned off, like washed off, and then we're gonna shred them, and then we will add them to a bowl. What I'm also gonna do is cut up a cucumber, and I'm going to cut it up into matchstick, and then same with some carrots. I'm gonna cut those up into matchsticks. I'm just going to dice some tomatoes and also dice some pickles. And then we're also cut up some lettuce as well. Some really good things to add to the hamburger one is if you have red onion, that would be delicious in that. You could also add red onion to the or even like a green onion. You could add that to the spring rolls. Cilantro is another really good thing to add to the vegetable one. And if you have peppers, like green peppers, red peppers, yellow peppers, those are delicious also. I just don't have any fresh peppers. All my peppers are in the freezer frozen, and I don't really want to add a mushy frozen because it'll get mushy by the time it thaws out. I don't really want to add that to my spring roll. I love the crunch of a spring roll when you dip it and you bite into it. It's just very, very refreshing, which is why I want to make them tonight for supper, because it's a nice refreshing thing to have on a very hot day. This recipe is really good to do when your garden vegetables all start to come into season. Like this one, I was able to pick this cucumber up today at the Amish, same with this and same with this. So this stuff is all starting to come into season. So it is perfect to make when your garden is starting to produce. And even if you don't have a garden, the farmer's market should have a lot of this stuff starting to become available, depending on which area you live in. But it's a pretty economical meal to make. And like I said, it's super good. And the hamburger one, that has the hamburger protein in it, so will be pretty filling. So that should be enough cabbage. Maybe we'll just take one more leaf. Nope, that should be enough. I don't want to shred too much. cucumber, you can choose to take the skins off or leave them on. I always eat cucumber skins. I love them. I don't have an issue with them. So I just leave them on, but you can definitely peel the cucumber if you don't like the skins. And this is just an English cucumber that I'm using. Okay, so we have everything all cut up. I'm gonna get these opened up. I have some warm water in this tray right here. I didn't fill it like completely full, and the reason why is because you have to keep changing the water out because you need it to have it warm, not boiling. Like it doesn't have to be scald your fingers for boiling, but it has to be warm enough that it will kind of like melt these. Not melt them, but just, I'll show you what I'm talking about. And I just actually picked these up at a local Asian market here. I believe that grocery stores, if you go into like the international aisle, I believe most grocery stores carry these, and they're just called rice paper. And these ones are an extra thin one. You want to make sure that the rice paper is kind of like in really good shape. I mean, you can use these ones that are a little damaged if need be, but you kind of want to get it to be a good full shape. And so you're just going to put it in here, and you're going to leave it in here for about 20, 30 seconds maybe. You just want it to get, and you can feel it kind of change the texture. It goes from like stiff to like bendable. I actually might need this water a little bit warmer. So you want it like this. It's really hard to see, but you just want it to be completely transparent and just bendable, kind of like clear wrap. So I think what we'll do is we will get started maybe on making the hamburger ones first, and then we will assemble the vegetable ones after. Losing my frame of thought. So I have probably, I would say maybe a couple tablespoons of hamburger mixture in there. Then we're gonna put some pickles on that. Again, red onions would be delicious with this. We're gonna put some lettuce with that. A couple things of tomato and just sesame seeds. And so what we're gonna do is fold it up like a burrito. So I usually just kind of tightly roll it like this, just roll it under. Whoopsie, got a rip. First couple ones are kind of brutal when I make them. Just roll them. Be very gentle with it because it's ripping. Mine all ripped. But I think it's because I'm doing it on this surface. Let me see what I could do it on that's not gonna cause it to rip, because you see how it all ripped there? It might have had too much tension on it. I'm just gonna rewrap this with another spring roll on top because it is, I did that one way too tight. Now I am getting out some cornstarch. You can also use corn flour, or you could use arrowroot as well. I've got a tray here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna sprinkle some cornstarch on the bottom of this tray. And all this does is it prevents the spring rolls from sticking to the tray, because again, as you can see, it is pretty sticky. Double wrap this one. Again, the first ones never work out the right way. And you can really only do one paper at a time because the papers will stick together. All right, we're gonna get the vegetable ones done. We have all the hamburger ones done. I realized that you really cannot have this rice paper in the water for very long because it does get really, like, it pulls apart easy. So for the vegetable spring rolls, all I'm doing is I'm putting some cabbage in, some carrots, some cucumber and some dried cilantro because I don't have the fresh stuff. Some red or green pepper in here would be delicious. Also radish, if you have some radishes, would be really tasty. But this is what I have available right now, so this is what we are using. Okay, so we have our veggie ones. I put them on the red tray, and then we have our hamburger ones, which are on this tray. I am really, really looking forward to trying them. So let's get this drink started. This drink calls for you to use fresh peaches. I don't have fresh peaches. It's not peach season right now. We're still in mid-May. So I'm gonna use some of our canned peaches. I can these in a really, really, really light syrup. Actually, I don't even think I can these in a syrup. I think I can these in just water. Yeah, so these are just pretty much just natural peaches. There's no sweetener in them, just plain peach. So we're gonna take a quart of peaches. This is my kind of version of it. If you have fresh peaches, use them. It calls for about 4 fresh peaches cut into slices. So I'm just straining off the extra liquid with this because we don't need it in here. Some of it is okay, but I just don't need all of it. So I'm just gonna add it to my blender. Then we're gonna add about 2 tablespoons of honey. If you don't have honey, you could definitely use like a guava nectar. I don't know if you could use maple syrup in this. You might be able to. But I think that if you use like a guava, it would be really, really yummy. And I don't think I'm saying that the right way. You can use ground ginger in this, or you can use fresh ginger. We're just gonna take some ginger and just grate it in. We're gonna grate in about maybe 2 teaspoons. And then it calls for about 4 cups of water. I'm gonna use probably about 3. And the reason is because we put those canned peaches in and they had a lot of extra moisture in them. So I don't want it to be too liquidy. And now we're gonna add about 1 cup of ice. We're gonna get the lid on it and we're gonna get it blended up smooth. I just did a little taste test on it and I'm actually gonna add a little bit more honey to that. It just needs a little bit more kick of sweetness to it. So I'm just gonna add probably another tablespoon of honey. But imagine if I was using a ripened peach, that it would be way more sweet. Oopsie. But because I'm using canned peaches, I don't think they're as sweet. But here we go. That is gonna be good. That is really, really, really refreshing. I love ginger. So this peach and the ginger with a little kick of honey is really, really refreshing. So I am super excited to get eating supper tonight. After being in the sun all day, like I said earlier, I am just really craving something nice and refreshing and crispy. And I think this is gonna be the perfect meal for when you're outside and you're hot. This is also a really, really good option to take for lunch. If you don't have access to heat lunch up, these are really, really filling. And if you're using like the hamburger one, those would be perfect for somebody that doesn't necessarily just want vegetable. As I was making them, the other idea that popped in my head is you really could just do anything with these spring rolls. I was thinking that like a chicken teriyaki mixed with some cabbage would also be very, very delicious, or even just like a buffalo chicken ranch put together in a spring roll, and then, or you just dip it into the ranch sauce. That would be really, really good. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I hope you have a great day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you on the next video. Bye guys. So there's my supper. I have my Mac or Big Mac dipping sauce right there, and then we have our peanut sauce, and there's my spring rolls. I'm really, really looking forward to this. Thanks again for watching, guys.